day 4 workout. I have a chair because, again, we're going to use the chair for a good amount of our movements. So I'm just going to get right into it. So the first 2 movements, or the first movement in our lower body superset. Another thing that I haven't explained, I always like to start with the hardest movements in the beginning of the workout. So you'll see the hardest movements, deadlifts, squats, Bulgarian split squats, all of that stuff I usually put at the beginning of our workout, because that way, as your body starts to get more and more fatigued, you are not putting yourself at risk for injury by trying a bunch of smaller movements and then trying deadlifts, because you've already been working out for 30 minutes, now you're going to try a deadlift, now your body is a little bit tired. So just a little explanation into why I do my programming the way that I do. I always start with our bigger movements. So we're going to start with step-ups. Ideally, you want to use a couch or a chair or something that is not going to move. For the purposes of this video, my chair is not up against anything, but I do not recommend a standalone chair. Safety first. But I'm going to show you. So step-ups, you drive through your front heel, and then you squeeze your booty to stand it up. You really want to be controlled and not just drop right back down onto that back leg. You can put your knee and your ankle at injury. So really try to control it up and control it down. Bend into your bottom knee to protect that knee. Now, the more you hinge forward and bring the belly to the booty, you're not rounding, but you're just hinging forward, so your belly is, or not belly to the booty, belly to the thigh. So your belly's at your thigh, you're going to activate your glutes a little bit more. Driving up, driving down. Then, as you get more comfortable with it, maybe you hold a weight. Maybe on the inside of your leg, maybe on the outside. Inside is a little bit easier. I find it's a little more stable. Outside is a little bit less stable because now you're leaning towards that upper leg, but whatever feels good for you. You can also have 2 weights, 1 on each side of your standing leg. And you take it up, and you take it down. Again, you don't need to straighten your leg at the top. You can leave your knee bent and then come back down a little bit. You can straighten your hips at the top, just try not to push forward. You can straighten your leg and just lock your leg out without squeezing your butt and pushing forward. Sometimes it gives a little bit reprieve to our front hip flexors if when you stand up, you just lock your leg at the top, maybe you tap your other toe, and then slowly lower down, bend into that bottom knee. So you're going to do all of the step-ups on one leg and then step-ups on the other leg, and we're going to come into hamstring curls. These are not easy, and you can work up to what I'm about to show you. So you can grab a rag, you can grab sliders. If you have tile or hardwood, you can use socks. Another really good one for carpet is if you have like a box of Diet Coke or a box of sparkling water, tear up the box, use the outside part of the box, the colored part of the box, on the carpet, and put your heels on a cardboard part. I YouTubed that. Very interesting. So, you are going to start lying down. You want to bring your hips up, extend your legs, keep your hips off the floor, and curl your heels towards your glutes. Now, it's very difficult. So, another option is keep your hips down, curl your legs in as you bring your hips up, and then lower down. Another option is to keep your hips up and alternate legs. Make sure if you're alternating your legs, you're pushing through your heels, so you're making your hamstrings work. Any of those variations works. Make sure if you're alternating legs that you're still doing the same amount. So say you had 20 hamstring curls, make sure you're doing 20 on the right and 20 on the left, rather than 10 on the right and 10 on the left, because you want to make sure you get a good workout on both legs. So that's the first. You got step-ups and hamstring curls. That's your first superset. Then we're going to go into some shoulders and some chest. Shoulders, we're going to do a low plank pike. So you start in a low plank. Your hips are and your elbows are below your shoulders. Then you push through your forearms to push your hips to the sky. Return back to your low plank. Hips up, back to plank. Hips up, back to plank. You're gonna really feel this in your shoulders. Then we're gonna go to push-ups. Chest press, not push-ups. Chest press, you're gonna be on your back, and you can, again, use a kettlebell. I'll show you how to do kettlebell because kettlebell push-ups are kettlebell chest press is a little tricky. It's fine. Can't talk today. So chest press, I'm gonna extend my legs, but you actually want to do this with your heels in, but I'm gonna extend it so you can see my arms. So you're going to take your elbows wide and just press up to the sky. Another option, take your elbows narrow and press up to the sky. Make sure when you're pressing up above your chest rather than your face. Now, I'll show you from the side. So when you push up above your chest rather than pushing up above your face because that turns into a shoulder exercise. You want to keep it down by the chest. Another really good trick to chest presses, mostly when you're working on a bench, but also practice it on a floor, is to arch your lower back. I will almost never say to arch your lower back, but for a chest press, I want a little bit of an arch in between your lower back and the mat. I had a really good personal trainer that taught me this, and it was the first time I was ever able to feel my chest muscles working in this exercise. So arch your lower back, and then press up. Both of these, narrow press and wide press, they both work. You can also use a duffel bag. Press it up. If you have a child, you can try that. I'm going to show you a kettlebell for those people who have kettlebells at home because you really want to work on safety when chest pressing with a kettlebell. So first things first, when you have the kettlebell for a chest press, your thumbs are inside the horns and your fingers are outside of the horns. You pull it to your hips, slowly roll back and bring the horns to your chest. Your thumbs are still through on the inside and your fingertips are still outside. As you press, keep this bell above your chest and not your face. Protect the moneymaker. Yeah? You do not, if you do bring that bell down, you do not want it coming down on your face. But also don't drop the bell. So, low plank to pike, then chest press. It's a very heavy kettlebell. All right, then our abs, we're gonna do an in and out crunch. So fingertips face your feet, balance on your hip bones, you can cross your heels, whatever feels good. For a challenge, lift your hands. That's your in and out crunch. Then we've got windshield wipers. So you lay on your back, you keep your lower back into the mat, bring your knees above your hips. Again, not into your chest because now your abs aren't activated. Keep your knees above your hips. You can also straighten your legs, that's a little bit harder. So you bring your hands out to the side, and then just windshield wipe from side to side. Very important, keep your shoulders on the floor so that your chest is still facing the sky, and you're gonna activate your abs to bring it side to side. If you wanna try straight legs, it's a little bit harder, really push your shoulders into the floor. So in and out crunches, windshield wipers. And then we're gonna go into our booty and core. We're gonna do hip thrusts. So, use a chair for this. The difference between a glute bridge or a hip bridge and a hip thrust is on a chair, hip bridge is on the floor. So, we're gonna do hip thrusts. Again, these are a little bit complicated and you really have to play around with them to feel your glutes. So you want the bottoms of your shoulder blades to be on the chair, and then the rest of your back is kind of hanging off the chair. Really important is you want to tuck your tailbone up, so your tailbone is pointing towards your knees. If you do not have your tailbone tucked and you arch your back, Now you're putting work into your lower spine. So tuck that tailbone, keep your chin tucked, and make sure at the top of your hip thrust, your knees are above your heels. If you have your feet further out, that's going to work your hamstrings. If your feet are closer to you, it's going to work your quads. So knees right under or right above your heels is going to work your glutes. I like to bring my hands back, or maybe my hands out to the side, and I lower down, keeping my spine straight, not arching my back, yeah? So this is the difference. This is my back arched. This is my spine straight. That's activating the glutes. I can feel this in my back. I can feel this in my glutes. Up, down, up, down. Keep your chin tucked. If you open your chest and don't tuck your chin, now you're just nice big back arch here. All of the work's in your back. A good way that I actually like to do hip thrusts that I feel it the most in my glutes is I bring my knees a little wider and I turn my toes out. That helps me feel my glutes in this hip thrust. Once you get good at these, you can do them banded. Maybe you have a band around your knees. Maybe you put your dumbbell on your hips. Really get the motion and try to get the feeling in your glutes before you start putting weights on it, especially if you're feeling it in your lower back. Really tuck that tailbone and get your glutes to activate before you start adding weight. Once you start doing that, once you get the feeling of the hip thrust, it's an amazing exercise for glutes. And your glutes are such a big muscle that you can lift a lot. I think my highest hip thrust was probably 300 pounds that I did. And the reason we like to work our glutes is because our glutes are their biggest muscle, and when you work them, they burn the most calories. So that's why when you do a lower body workout, it's so much harder because the muscles in your lower body are so much bigger, they're doing so much more work. So, little side note there. Then we're gonna, after our hip thrust, we'll go into clams. So you just land on your side and open your knee. Toes are together, heels are together. You are welcome to add a band around your knee, or not around your knees, around your thighs, right above your knees. A little bit harder, lift your heel and your knee. Make sure that you don't open your chest here. Make sure your chest and your hips are parallel and you're just opening your legs. You start to open and let your torso open, then you're taking the work out of your glutes. So you really want to keep your torso parallel, just open that leg. You'll do that on each side, and then we'll go into a core exercise, plank knee cross. So hands under shoulders, you step back, opposite knee, opposite tricep. You're just going to cross, keep your hips low, keep your belly pulled in. If you need a modification, put your hands on a chair and try it here. Yeah? Then work your way down to the floor. So that is day 4.